Why it's the Geordie Ninja. I'm just in the gym. It's really hot outside. It's quite hot in the gym. I've got all the windows open, just had the fans on. Just had a boxing class and they were really good on Monday and less motivated today, but they put the work in today. It started to make us think, as a lot of times people don't feel like they should train because they're not up for it. Sometimes coming in on your off days is really good for you. Sometimes it can be temperamental. Like say if you've got an injury or an ailment, people try to work through a cold. All you're really doing is dropping your immune system even lower and make yourself worse. Like I say, I'm probably one of the worst offenders of that. Most martial arts coaches are hypocritical. They'll train with injuries where the leg dropped off, but they'll train the next day. In that sense, you'll always get that 90% mental, 10% physical. If your mental head's telling you to train, you'll train because your mental head telling you, even if your physicality's not too good. I've got an knee injury at the minute. Had a burst bursa and a sprained knee. But even when I'm demonstrating, I'm pushing off the knee and that's not helping. If I'm doing pad work, I'll be posting on my leg and that wasn't helping. So I end up walking while I'm doing pad work rather than skipping, which is making it better. I've got a knee brace on at the moment, but I'm weaning myself off the knee brace so I can get better at it. But it frustrates you because technically you want to train a lot. You always want to train and you feel frustrated if you don't train. But sometimes when you really are tired, don't train. In that sense, it doesn't help you, but you'll get that adrenal picture that you need to train or even change your routine up. I'm busy doing a lightweight routine, which I haven't really done weights for years. I normally do bands now. I prefer bands because it's better for my joints. I do enough pad work for my physical sense in that sense, but it's a lot of isometric training, so I get a muscle building action through that. But I found the bands help us stretch and flex and give weight training abilities, pumps up the tissue, gets it more comfortable. I'm busy doing, sounds really weird, Eugene Sandown would emphasize 5-pound dumbbells to do weight routines, but really good form rather than just throwing a weight up and down. I'm busy doing that at the minute to help my flexation as well as muscularity in a sense, but I want functional muscles that I can move rather than non-functional muscles that I can't use. That's part of my plan at the moment. But what it does is it keeps my mind interested and it keeps my body interested in doing things in that sense. If you ever feel like you're stuck in a rut, change the rut. You will get that bit. A couple of weeks ago, I was really unmotivated in training, which is unlike me. I'm normally quite up for it, and I literally couldn't be bothered. I taught classes all day. My ninjutsu group came in. Some of the black belts started teaching the class. I went, just carry on teaching it, where I actually enjoyed sitting and watching the class rather than teaching the class, because it sort of gave my head a rest. I call it like having a holiday in your head. But in that way, sometimes you'll need that little holiday in your head. I'm winding for that way, you get that bit where you feel like you're doing too much or you're burning out. I like reading now, so I'll purposely make a half an hour to an hour a day if I can to read. That takes us out of what I'm thinking about doing and how I do things and make us do something different or make us do something else. Which gives us another motivation, and it breaks up what you think you're doing as a monotonous thing. Because no matter what you do in your work sense, you'll always do it again. You've just done that and you've just done that. Like I'll teach a class and then 3 hours later, 4 hours later, I'm probably teaching the same technique, and I have to be motivated and interested in how I explain the technique, even though I probably explained it. But every person's slightly different. So then what it feels like, it is new, even though you've just said it 3 or 4 hours later in another private class. In this way, it actually feels new because the person that you're saying it to might not have heard it. But then the detail of how to do the technique, like change an angle of a jab hand or change of a cross and why you step over and things like that, is new because it's them. So in that way, that creates interest. I like it, basically because it feels new to me, even though it's the same to me. That sounds even weirder. So because I can view it from the other person, I'm not doing exactly the same because it's different. Like I'll watch YouTube, like I've said before, just for that reason. I love watching YouTube. I love techniques. I love watching how they detail it, how the documentaries work out in that sense. Watching a fighter prep for a fight, or watching a Okinawan master or a Japanese master telling how an Okinawan master does this technique and they do that technique. Or Sylvia from the multi-library, how she goes around all the old school golden era of Thai and watching how they teach, and they all teach differently. It must be a nightmare for her to go, right, I'll do that one. He told us not to do that. He's told us to do that. You telling us not to do it. So in that way it's good, but it does jiggle your head, makes your head more interesting. So if you're on a day where you feel less motivated and you shouldn't train, don't train. On the days that you feel motivated enough to train but need a different change how you train, don't keep it structurally the same. Like in a weight training, they always say change your routine every 6 to 8 weeks, so your muscles don't realize what they're doing. So it always feels that it's interesting or dynamic in a sense. It's a new thing for your body to shock. Like you said, you don't know whether you lifted a weight, pulled a band, or held pads for 3 hours in a row. Your body doesn't understand, it just understands it's being taxed. So in this case, that's how you can keep your motivation up. But I totally see where people are coming from. Well, I just haven't got the motivation to train. That's really difficult to get over. So in that way, jiggle up your routines, take it off when you need to, if you can. As Mickey Flanagan says, try to do fuck all. I use it as a quote. It does take a lot to do fuck all because your body wants to do something, and adrenal pitch tells you want to do something physical, where stopping yourself from doing something physical when you're used to doing something physical is really difficult because you have unutilized adrenal because of the physical activity you normally do. Trying to find something to replace that is really difficult, but it is possible. Like I say, I immerse myself into a book or watching a video or a documentary in that sense, and that fills in that gap that I didn't think I could fill in by not doing a physical. And then other times I'll change my physical into a different realm and do a little mini workout rather than hitting a bag, or rather than like do a stretch workout rather than a kick work routine, which is weird but makes sense. So don't feel disheartened when you don't feel motivated to train. As long as you can keep something that keeps you ticking over, your motivation will come back. Like I said, I've trained in that many different arts at different times. You'll fall in and out of love with an art over years. You'll like one bit, hate another bit, hate it for a little while, love it for a little while. Just don't give up. As Hatsumi Sensei says, keep going. Right? Why I?